This, unfortunately. Aoife Walsh, thank you for joining us, and Carl Dieter. Miriam.
Well, once a Catholic, always a Catholic. Not so, it appears, as a growing number of disaffected Irish people are choosing to formally opt out of the Catholic. Remains by a mile the dominant religion in this country, and it's still of enormous importance to vast numbers of our population. But as Ireland becomes increasingly multicultural and more people are choosing to opt out of all forms of religions, is it finally time for a stronger divide between church and state to be firmly established? These are just some of the issues Katie Hannon now explores.
We were the holiest of the holy, a country where the Catholic calendar was observed with enthusiastic devotion, where religious rituals became national jamborees.
We're becoming post-Catholic in the sense that, Catholicism would have much less influence upon politics and public life than it would in the past.
I accept that the majority of people in this country are Catholics, but surely they're not going to deprive me of my human rights.
According to the 2006 census, there are a little under 3.7 million Catholics in Ireland, an increase of 6% since 2002. There are over 125,000 aligned with the Church of Ireland, up 9%. The Muslim population, at over 32,000, increased almost 70%, while just 3,000 described themselves as atheists, agnostics or lapsed Catholics. Over 186,000 people stated that they were of no religion, an increase of 35%, while another 70,000 ignore the box related to religion entirely.
There's no real way to stop being Catholic. Even not believing in God isn't regarded as sufficient reason to get out of the Catholic Church. You'd think it'd be fairly fundamental to the whole thing, but no. That's the adhesive religion in the world. There's no website you can deregister online.
Well, actually, now there is. Gráinne O'Sullivan is one of 3 people behind the Count Me Out website. Launched last July, the website offers a step-by-step guide to those who, like Gráinne herself, church.
You put in your information, when and where you're baptised, and then it generates a letter to your archdiocese, and you can fill it out with any information that you want about why you want to leave, get it witnessed and sent off. 1,000 people filled out the form within the first week, which was very, very exciting and scary at the time. But it also realised what a big thing this could be and how important it could be for Ireland.
All those wishing to defect from the church in Dublin are invited to meet the Vice-Chancellor of the Archdiocese, Westland Row Parish Chaplain, Father Fenton Gavin.
I suppose there's been a number. This year we've had 65 people who have formally defected from the church, and there's a number of other people who are in the process of doing that. That would be an increase. In former years, last year there was, I think, 10 people, so in that sense, yes, there has been an increase in the number of people coming forward.
For me, I wanted to make an unambiguous statement to the that I don't believe that their influence over the state should be as strong as it is, and also as a bit of a protest against the Ryan report as well.
Primetime tagged along when Gráinne was invited to discuss her decision to defect with Father Gavin. We withdrew from the meeting to allow for a private exchange.
That went on a little longer than you would have expected, I think. Did it change your mind, or have you in any way any doubts now about your decision?
No, I've no doubts at all, and I had no intention of changing my mind, but he had no intention of trying to change my mind either. We mostly just discussed the decision that I'd made and that I knew the implications of how it went.
Opting out of the church means opting out of all the sacraments and social codes that have long dictated the rhythm and fabric of Irish life. 1/3 of all Irish babies are now born outside of marriage. Of those couples who choose to marry, 1/5 are doing so in a civil ceremony. And now it seems that a small minority of newly secularised Irish people are choosing to embrace the final taboo.
With funerals, until a couple of years ago, there were very, very few. Last year, I think we had about maybe 15 or so. This year, about 30. Still very small numbers, but growing. And I suppose the Ryan report has maybe contributed to that. I mean, I don't take any delight in that, obviously, but I think that has made people think, really, I don't particularly want to go to the Catholic Church for my funeral.
There are many bugbears for the growing band of people in Ireland who are not of the Christian majority, such as the call to Christian prayer in the most prominent of places, or the requirement to swear a Christian oath in order to become a judge or, indeed, to become president. But nowhere is the debate on the role religion should play in Irish life more pointed than in the fraught area of education.
We need to take our entire primary school infrastructure into public ownership. We are paying for them. We are funding them. We need to get the kind of management controls that are necessary to bring us into line with every other European country.
The Irish model, where less than 1% of primary schools are non-denominational, has come under fire from both the Council of Europe and the United Nations.
I think Ireland is a great country for signing up to all these UN protocols and all of that, but then making up our own rules. So again, there's hypocrisy at lots of levels.
Gerard and Jennifer have 2 children aged under 3. They have put their names down for the local Presbyterian school, but they are not a Presbyterian family.
Well, I was brought up as a Catholic, and I personally have come to the conclusion that there isn't a God, so I'm an atheist. Jenny and I, during the course of our relationship, have discussed it, and we agreed between us that we wouldn't baptise either of these 2.
What about this one? We are planning to send them to the school because there is no other option in Dundalk. We'd love them to go to an Educate Together school and you know, learn about everybody's religion and not be taught any one thing in particular.
At the end of the day, we don't consider it a big stretch to, you know, to ask that we can educate our children in a school where some is basically forced upon us or prescribed upon us, or we pay taxes like everybody else.
We have 56 Educate Together schools at the moment. There are about 3,400 and odd schools in the country, so we're less than 1%. And we would be looking to grow in the next 5 years to possibly 142 or more schools.
Senior bishops are set to meet Department of Education officials later this week to discuss the transfer of Catholic schools to state patronage. The scale of this transfer will be a key issue. A recent Red Sea survey commissioned by the Iona Institute, which promotes Catholic values, revealed that 25% of parents believe that all publicly funded schools should be run by the state, while over 7 in 10 believe that parents should have the right to choose between publicly funded church and state-run schools. If given that choice, just 47% of parents would choose to send their children to a Catholic school.
There is no doubt that the number of denominational schools in Ireland far exceeds the true level of demand for them.
Online parenting forums reveal that many parents feel forced to baptise their children in order to guarantee a place in their local Catholic school.
It comes from the fact that there aren't enough schools in some areas to cater for the amount of children or for the choice that parents actually want in a particular area.
It's not really an issue. It was highlighted in the media, I think, when there was kind of, if you like to call them the bottleneck situations where there was just a shortage of places at schools, but we're talking about a very small number of cases of that, and that ultimately has to be resolved.
A lot of denominational schools, you know, obviously the parents who send their kids there are not themselves practicing. And so the schools end up, if you like, teaching Catholicism light or Anglicanism light or whatever the case may be. And it may be in the interest of those schools if there were a greater variety of schools for parents to choose from, so the parents that don't practice any particular religion can send their kids, let's say, to Educate Together, and that the Catholic school or the Church of Ireland school, as the case may be, can become truer to its identity.
This has already happened in many parts of the country at second level, with many former denominational schools forced to amalgamate under the patronage of vocational education committees.
The VECs manage and operate up to 250 schools nationwide. 210 are multi-denominational co-educational colleges or schools.
Which sounds pretty straightforward, or is it? As a humanist who was passionately committed to raising her children to choose their own belief system, Jane Donnelly was delighted that her local VEC-run community college was multi-denominational. But she discovered that the school had a strong Catholic ethos.
Despite opting my children out of religious education, it was an ongoing battle. It never stopped on that day. From listening to prayers over the intercom every day, the priest coming in and saying prayers over the intercom, from my children being brought to the oratory and asked to meditate on how Jesus died. My daughter came home at 15 years of age and told me that